December is a wonderful month to bury a time capsule. Also, make your vision board. If you are a spiritually aware person, it is of utmost importance that you put an imagery to your needs and wants and your desires for your future, because it's going to be relevant for the next 20 years. Welcome back to our energy analysis and forecast for December 2022. My name is Jona Bryndis. I'm an energy healer, energy coach, and visionary. And I am inviting you to look at the energetic quality of December. Yes, this is a little different than a prediction. I am looking at these collective weather conditions that we are all exposed to, and I can already tell you that this is a very eventful, a very important month here. Yeah, so you will hear me analyzing the energy here, and you will notice that I make reference to what I call time capsules. Those are bigger cycles, things that we all experience in our life. Many of you know the 7-year cycles, for example. It's like you burying a time capsule, sending a message to yourself, and I make you aware of this. So December is a wonderful month to bury a time capsule, because it's going to be relevant for the next 20 years. Also, make your vision board, guys. If you are a spiritually aware person, it is of utmost importance that you put an imagery to your needs and wants and your desires for your future. But make no mistake, this is not a vision board like you were taught in success coaching. This isn't about affirming your abundance or getting what you want. This is about you communicating with your future self. And make sure that these clippings or pictures that you put into your vision board, that they have a feeling with them. Yeah, sometimes it's also good to put real pictures in there. Yeah, so make sure that your vision board captures how you want to feel, how you want to live your life, and how this then feels like to you. This is the true currency of manifestation. Yeah, so I'll tell you right up front here, this is a very deep month for all of us. Lots of things will change for us, but not in a way that we need to be afraid of, more in the sense that we are ready for change. Yeah, deep peace. I embrace all experiences as learning experiences. This is a phrase that you are so familiar with, and yet in December it's going to kick in, and feel nothing but gratitude for any opportunity to grow. Because in my heart, I can feel the truth that guides me. So feeling this in your heart will be something that many of you have to recalibrate. December is quite a physical month, so we're all going through this physical restructuring, some of you guys more than others. And I will point this out to you, for you, dietary changes and changes in your, just like how you treat your body, perhaps even, how you surround yourself, like the place that you live and so forth, can be helpful for you. Why does our body restructure? And I'm sure you've read or seen or heard, these phrases that, the 5D and blah, 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 and that we all need to adjust. Well, it's quite simple, actually. Yeah, for us to actually grow. And the same happens with children or, in any developmental stage.
Yeah, the vessel, the part that actually carries it needs to be ready for it. And this is what is happening right now. We're all moving into a higher level of spiritual awareness, all of us. Yeah, whether people are call themselves spiritual or not is irrelevant. They still do, because the overall frequency, the overall consciousness level, and I know this is so hard to believe because everything looks like it's degressing. Everything looks like it's going backwards. Yes, things sometimes have to go backwards. This is this testing, yeah, that I mentioned many times for us to become more aware. And what do higher levels of awareness do for us? Well, they increase our consciousness. So for us to be fully ready to be initiated into this higher spiritual understanding, and this is not just sort of me wishing it so. Yeah, I've been around for 20 years as an energy healer, and I'm a marathon runner. I know what I get into. I know that this is a long haul. Yeah. And I know that this is not going to be, all, beautiful and blissful here within my personal lifetime. Okay. When we look at the cosmological perspective of things, we're looking at much, much bigger cycles. Yeah. So what is happening right now? Yeah. This initiation into higher levels of consciousness, as some call 5D, which from my perspective is not very fitting, yeah, because it's more than 5D, but it doesn't matter. That's a technicality. Requires our bodies to be able to hold this higher level of frequency, and that requires us to, change our diet, to change our habits, to, be able, yeah, to not get zapped by it, if you will. And that's kind of like how December is, but different from October. October had elements of that as well. It's much more explosive. It's louder. Yeah, it's louder. So in October, we felt something similar. It felt electric. Yeah, we felt this like sort of electrical current going through us. In December, it's different. It wants to grip somewhere. It wants to get grounded. It wants to get anchored. And that's why DPs, yeah, as sort of the goal here, yeah, what we're aiming at is important to remember, because this isn't something that needs to scare us. This is something that leads us to our higher expression. We just need to come to peace with it. Yeah. A few months ago, I called these collective happenings and weather conditions, as something where we need to find the balance within transformation. Yeah, so transformation is a difficult time for everybody because, we feel that the old is no longer serving, but we're not quite sure yet where this is going to go. We're not sure what we can trust, and we're not sure what to subscribe to. And this is where December comes in with a clarity. This will end. Okay, you guys will feel more clarity. By the end of December, you will have a good feeling for what your path is. You still may not have the courage to come out of the woodwork, and you still may have to work for a couple more years on your authenticity levels. That's a big part of our overall integration. And depending on where our issues, our blockages, or impedences, and also where our blind spots are, obviously this can take a little longer. There's maybe some trauma that still needs to be processed. Yeah, things, habits that we need to change, and so forth. Yeah, this takes a long time. Don't forget how many years it took for you to develop them. So here, just real quick, the bigger picture. The bigger picture is obviously here to arrive in a place that I call the middle, or the sacred heart. It is the place where you know who you are. Yeah, where you can answer the question that you are a soul with a body and not a body with a soul. Now, have we decided this for ourselves? Probably not. So when we find ourselves in a struggle with 3D life, that means we haven't really made that choice yet. Yeah, now you wouldn't be here if you didn't already know that you have a soul self. Yeah, if you didn't believe in that. And so December is all about really making making a stance is no longer the right word. You no longer have to make a stance for it. You have to become it. Yeah, and this has a lot to do with the forces of light and dark and how they pull you out of your center, out of your sacred heart, which is why December is going to be all about this ability to stay in your center. You know, whatever you need, whatever leads you to it. There's no right or wrong. It's all about you making this a priority. Yeah, the butterfly stands for transformation, for metamorphosis, yeah, for alchemy, if you will. Because when the caterpillar is starting to transform into a butterfly, its awareness is not, doesn't know what is going on, but everything within that caterpillar is changing. It's this reconstruct. Yeah, the DNA, yeah, has already decided, or is already pre-programmed to become a butterfly, but the caterpillar doesn't know that yet. Okay, and this is where we are standing right now. We're standing right at that point where I want to say the caterpillar begins to realize that there is something big coming. Yeah, so working with this blue butterfly, guys, can help you to anchor your energy to this energy alignment. Yeah, you don't always have to listen to it entirely. That's why I also give you the music without the voice. It is the alignment itself that happens when you listen to the spoken one, okay? And then you can recall it by the feeling that you had when this happened, or the imagery that you anchor to it. You will see that I will also use that blue butterfly for other things in December. There's a daily session that I'm going to do throughout December, and the blue butterfly will accompany a lot of these publications that I do, because it's important that we have something that we can remind ourselves with. Yeah, so the code breaker for December for all of you is no longer, no more. That's the theme of November, and some of you are still dealing with this. So no more is the energy of November. There is more is the energy of December. Yeah, and here encoded in true self. Help me to remember this when I'm low and lonely. Fill me with inner peace. Gives me the clarity, courage, and determination to trust in my higher expression. Yeah, so trust was a big subject in the instructions, because that's really what it comes down to. That's what the choice is. I know there is more. There is so much more that awaits me. Those moments when you feel like a ping, or like something is arriving home, or something is arriving in you. Okay, those are codes. Those are code breakers. Yeah, or trip codes, or sometimes they're trigger points for you. Yeah, it shows you an inner response. In level 1 earlier, we've talked about inner resistances. But you also have the opposite of that in you, and that is a strong inner response. Yeah. So don't be afraid of this. Pay attention, write this down, take note of this. So here, another anchor for you, for all of you. Peace cannot be found through fight, struggle, or conflict. That's just a different way of saying what I said earlier. Peace is a state of being that comes from within our inner heart connection, teaching us how to combine love with trust in our true inner power, guiding us to self-mastery. So We'll probably talk about this a little more, that those are all trip codes for you. All right, so overall, December is a month of letting go of the burden of the past. Now, we have had quite a bit of preparation leading up to this. That's why I always said everything that was happening before September, October, November was leading up to now. Yeah, it is linked to our karmic resolution, to recognizing what our karmic task is, and with it, we can, with the insight of it. It is not enough to just have the sight of it. It's not enough to just intellectually understand it. With the insight of it, like what this actually means. What does it mean when you have had, a series of childhood traumas that all sort of linked you into guilt, or all linked you, tied you to shame, or to, abandonment, attachment, and so forth. What does this mean? Yeah? That's the power of insight, and that will come to you here when you find the courage to let go of it. So there's a huge, big healing opportunity in December. And there is also a lot of tears, guys. So for me, half of the session was dealing with tears, but not the sad tears. I mean, there's some grieving and some loss that kicks in whenever we let something go. You're probably familiar with that. And then there's a part in us that may backpedal, and in the attempt to not having to deal with the grief or the loss, they're trying to, go back to the old. This will not work. This will be a struggle for you. Yeah, you will see what works and what doesn't work by the struggle that you experience. And there's either something inside of you that you need to let go, or there's something on the outside that you need to let go, like what you are, fixating on, for example. There are several time capsules in December, and this is quite important. So some of you have heard me talk about this before. Time capsules are also known as rocks in time. Those are things that have to happen. They have to happen in order for something else to unfold. Now, the way my sight, my spiritual vision works is that I see these rocks in time way ahead of time, and I know what needs to happen. I know roughly when that's going to happen, but I don't know how we get there. Do you sometimes have this feeling that something, not the anxiety, not the anticipation? No, you're going to be somewhere at some point, but you just simply can't see how to get there. Yeah, and that's how this is for me. So when I recognize a time capsule, so it's basically like a sticky note that I put on a certain process where I say, hey, wait. I know this one. Okay, I've seen that in 2003. What was in 2003? What did you try to liberate yourself from in 2003? Remember that. That is what is coming to an end right now. That was your task. With all the things that you've experienced in the last 19 years. And it helps to understand that, because then you can see how it all makes sense, what your struggles were. I can tell you what I did in 2003, since I often share something from my personal life. That's when I divorced my first husband. That's when it kicked in me that my integrity needs to be untouchable. I cannot sacrifice my integrity for my survival fears or my attachment issues or anything like that. I cannot do that. My system is not allowing me to do that. So for the last 19 years, I got to practice that. Today, it's no longer a question for me because I have so much practice in it. Now there's another time capsule, and that's the one that has to do with the healing tool, with the part in you that became receptive to something new. So in 2011, you first connected with something that is way showing for you, that has maybe even changed your life, something that has really helped you. Does anybody remember the big thing, the big process that happened for you in 2011? So this is a way shower for us, okay? What we can connect with, and obviously it's not exactly 2011, it can be, the end of 2010 or the beginning of 2012, okay? But it's that time frame, yeah, the big thing that happened in that time frame for us. That's a signpost for us, yeah, like what it actually is that we came here to do. Yeah, so in 2003, what it actually is that we need to let go of, what we need to, say goodbye to, what does no longer work for us karmically. We're not aware of that at the time, but it kicked in. And then in 2011, the way kicked in. Yeah, and obviously, it's 2022 right now, 11 years. Yeah, we've practiced, we've tried different things. Many of us have been sitting in this place of knowing what they no longer want, but not really finding the courage to fully commit to how they truly want it. Yeah, and this is now the process that starts here in 2023, pretty much exactly at the beginning of, January. We now need to make that commitment. We now need to come out of the woodwork. Yeah? So you guys remember this article that I wrote in, I don't know, 2014 or 13 or something, coming out of the woodwork. That was a message to all empaths and energetically sensitives out there. Yeah, to no longer hide, to no longer feel bad about you seeing the world with different eyes, you being spiritually inclined, trying to cover it up, yeah, feeling ashamed about that. That is what you are now ending. That time is over with. Yeah, and I've said this before, it's never been as easy as it is today to be spiritual. Yeah, so whatever trauma or whatever negative feeling you still have about being spiritual and all that comes with it, also including religion, yeah, all your resistances that you had to religion, you can bring them together now and harmonize all that. You no longer need to resist these things. You no longer need to hide these things. You no longer need to pretend. You can step with the full awareness and the full consciousness into your spiritual self. And that's a process that will last, yeah, for a good 20 years. Now, some of us might not be around at that time anymore. Yeah, and some of us will, be in the, sort of height of their unfolding of their higher expression. But regardless of whether we're alive at this point or not, and many of you will be alive, I'm just checking this, and you will remember me saying this here today. Yeah, you will look back at your life and you will see how everything exactly had to be the way it was. It had to be that way. That's the peace. Hope is when I can feel the connection with my higher self, because I don't need to worry. I don't need to judge. Everything was or will be is already inside of me. Yeah, some of you guys got married, some of you got divorced. Yeah, big process. Mm-hmm. So true spiritual mastery, I talked about this in November already, has to do with you fully committing and aligning yourself, your body, mind, spirit, heart, and soul to what you truly are. As soon as you let go of wanting to be someone you're not, you will feel supported. You will feel loved. I know that some of you experienced something in November. And when I do your reading, I'm going to ask you about this. Because this is something I predicted in November, that as soon as you let go of whatever the attachment was, or, whatever you thought you had to do, you felt new support, new inspiration, new options, new opportunities come in. And it made you feel no longer alone. So the main focus of December is inner peace. The main challenge is trust. Finding your path. Yeah, I'm here because my higher self chose to be here, right now. I know that I came here for a purpose, even if I forget this sometimes, and that's the challenge. Yeah, that we forgot. And so remembering our light is a code, to become able to trust more. And that one will then enable us to find our path. The main opportunity here, or opportunities through that, I've mentioned this briefly, is true spiritual connection. I know you guys are very, very advanced in your spiritual understanding, but true spiritual understanding, guys, or spiritual connection, that's a whole different level. Higher levels of love, not just romantic love, but for some of you, yeah, that is a new experience here in those next coming years. But mostly the love that we have for another, for recognizing the soul in others, the true self. Yeah, we're all true selves. Now, just because you recognize the light in another person doesn't mean that you have to allow them to walk over you, okay? So don't confuse that. Everybody has a light. But it will be easier for you to recognize the people that know that they have a light, that remember their light. And this is the cool thing, and this is also motivation for you to come out of the woodwork, to finally show your light, to finally agree to going into your higher self-expression. Is when you shine your light, it's a lot easier for others to find you. Most of us have issues with community, with, like a support system, because we simply can't find enough people that are like-minded, that are, sort of on our wavelengths. And this is something that you need to recognize comes through your choice. Yeah, you have to show yourself in order to be found. And this then will give you more confidence and also a higher level of self-worth, because many of us have had this fringe dweller, lack of self-worth problem, the starving artist, the starving student, the starving spiritual person. Yeah, this is a lack programming that was implanted to us because we felt abandoned from, like, say, the collective being the matrix of things. And as soon as you recognize that that's the illusion, and that you remembering your own light is actually what is worthy, okay, things change around. Yeah. And obviously we also lose our fears, especially right now, the fear of the end of everything, the fear that the world is going to go under, the planet is going to die, and humans are going to get extinct. That's complete BS, guys. First of all, the planet can easily live without us, okay? And it will. Yeah, so we don't need to worry about the planet as much, because the planet has self-healing abilities way beyond our imagination, and all the things of climate change and so forth that are, that we're being programmed with as a sort of our fault, okay, is not what it appears. So here I would strongly recommend that you do not buy into that. And another perk, yeah, of taking advantage of this opportunity is a clarity in your mind. When you understand things better, when things make sense to you, all the inner conflicts disappear. And now I'm coming back to something that I said at the beginning. What or how do we feel? What does this feel like when things make sense to us? We feel it in our bodies, guys. We also feel it in our minds, because the mind doesn't have as much conflicts with it. But it's an overall, it's like a holistic feeling when you hear truth. It alleviates all doubts. It lets go of all attachments. That's why, we often call this feeling love, because it has that same power. It is, from an energetic point of view, the same resonance as love. So truth feels like love because it has that activation in us, or it does that, it triggers that activation in us, and that relieves us of all our pains and struggles. So collectively, the resonances that we're going to have to deal with in December, they're very similar to November, but with one big difference here. There is another impulse, another activation. Was not there before. This is the peace impulse. It's a higher vibratory impulse. Finding the higher expression, finding better ways. And that's then basically what's going to lead us to solutions, to resolutions. So it's still about karmic purpose, but for many of us collectively, it's becoming a bit more clear where this needs to go. So the path is becoming a little more visible. Here you see in the mental and spiritual, there is a sobering going on, and that obviously relates to the handling of information, and misinformation and so forth. There's still a lot that needs to be revealed, how our financial systems are being managed, and, what this is all going to lead to, as soon as people become aware of this. Now, also collectively, and when I say collectively, that means it works, or, it's something that everybody feels. It just plays out differently for everybody. But here, and this was surprising for me, and this was also very strong in this group, the need for inner child work. So last month, we had to deal with a collective anger starting to brew. This month, we're going to see collective rage, explosive rage. And that is something, if you will, that comes through our unresolved inner child aspects. Because when we're challenged, when, the rubber meets the road, if you will, we're all reverting back to our lower vibratory states. We all revert back to our lower expressions. And that is, our childlike state, the state of powerlessness and fear. So we need to understand this. So what we're going to see is not nice, but it's understandable. Because this is how the ego works. As soon as it gets challenged, it reverts to old coping. Our karmic resolution that has been building for months will come to release in December. It's just a different way of saying what I already said. And this is a beautiful, gigantic step for us to not just understand it with our mind, but to feel it, to understand the bigger picture, to know why we had to go through all this stuff. And there's a huge release that comes with this, a release of an old burden. Now, we have to be willing to release it. Okay, we have to be willing to just be okay with it. It just is what it is, guys. You resisting it isn't going to change anything about it. It's just going to create more struggle. So we have to embrace it too, in a way, yeah, and just allow it to be. The cool thing about December is that we're also going to get the antidote or the healing, the medicine along with it, and that is we see the purpose in it. We see our path. Very, very beautiful. Phenomenal, really. Now, we're still going to have to deal with repressed anger, yeah, especially those of us who have a lot of fear issues because, anger is, sort of the lid that sits on top of fear, seen from an energetic point of view. And so this repressed anger is going to come out. This may not be nice, and we may feel guilty for that, but we're going to have to also understand that these are energies that have been stuck in us for decades. Okay, so my tip for you is when you see yourself reverting to a rage monster, a rage beast, okay, correct that right away. Whomever it concerns, go back, say, hey, I apologize, this didn't come out right. Yeah, I had to let this go. And it came out with this, sort of explosive anger. I apologize. What I really want to say is, what I really feel is. Yeah, so don't beat yourself up. For many of you, December is a month for guilt healing, as I called it here in my reading. Now we can finally get to a place with your inner guilt that you have, yeah, and let go of it. Anger is an emotion that everybody has, and sometimes it needs to express. We're all in the process of finding our higher expression. So forgive yourself for sometimes reverting back to your lower expression. That is no longer who you are. You don't need to identify with it. That's not your shadow. It just is a release of energy. Yes. And if you want to prevent that from happening, then do more clearing, do more, working with your emotions, yeah, and your addictions and the coping that you do, the avoidance. Yeah, then it doesn't really build up that much. But the identity issues will be pretty feelable in December. And I can tell by the overall physical issues that we're going to have. Yeah, so chakra issues. So this has to do obviously with courage, coming out of the woodwork, showing your light, all these things, finally, putting up your website, finally producing a video or something like that, or finally, showing your face or showing your true identity. Yeah, to give a shit, forgive me for my English, what other people think. Yeah, to liberate yourself from this dependency on other people's opinions. It will be so ridiculous here coming these next years in regard to political correctness and blah, 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 blah. Every single term, every single word that has any kind of meaning to you will be twisted, will be turned around. You can no longer make yourself depend on what other people think or how they see you. You have to step into your own identity and need to know what you mean. And only say the things that you truly mean and mean everything you say. It's for as long as you know the meaning, and share it. If people ask, oh, how do you mean that? Well, this and this and this is what that means to me. Yeah. That's how these identity issues then will come to us, in conversations, mostly relationships, because December can be quite challenging for our relationships. Yeah, and you can see here how this works through us, right? It's about authenticity, showing your true self. Yeah, and that is the decision here that happens on our fifth chakra. So our fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh chakra will be the most active organs, the most active energy centers, besides obviously some of the chakra fields that we have, but that we will feel. This is all about us showing our light and to be fearless. To tap into our vision. The only thing that we still have to deal with is, to finally let go of this karmic burden. So, guys, this gives you an overview here, about collective physical symptoms. Remember, I write these slides while I'm in session with you, so, don't mind my typos and things like that, because it's quite intense for me to write these things during energy work. The overall energetic quality of December is one that comes in with a beautiful peace energy, not quite yet in the collective, but for us, that's why I call it inner peace or deep peace and courage. Yeah, and sort of what we're going to be exposed to as lower energetic resonances are going to be fear and grief and loss. Yeah, so you can hear there's a lot going on. You're going to have to deal with a lot of stuff from the outside. And for us to see through that, for us to recognize why we have to experience certain things and what the meaning of them is, so that we can see the path beyond it, to see beyond what we are going through right now. We need to be willing to let that go. So my overall tip for everybody, guys, is to have a daily spiritual routine. It will be needed. And there's so many times I will, model this. I will give you guys inspirations how to do this. I will do a daily empowerment, as I've decided to call this. But it's semi-public, if you will. So the people will be able to sign up for it. And then they get the videos that I produce in these live sessions sent into their email, which can help them, to stay tuned in this daily routine. And December is super rich and it's super easy. We have the winter solstice to tap into, our more spiritual and etheric visioning and seeing. Also, just real quick on, that's not August. This is the January 7th. We have the new Love Integrity course starting. So this is where we translate our energetic and spiritual awareness into our relationships, what it means to have a relationship as energetically sensitive, and how to find the higher expressions in our, not just love relationship, but also with other people, how to find a higher expression interaction with others. And then we're also going to have the level 2 training that starts on February 1st. So there's a lot going on here at transCODES. Yeah, I'm wishing you guys a wonderful December. It's very rich, very deep, and prepare for a lot of anxiety in the collective, a lot of confusion. Yeah, the very thing that we're working on here, namely seeing the bigger picture, understanding why things have to be in a certain way, that is obviously not there in the collective. This is a much slower process for the entire collective, but each and every one of us who becomes willing to shine their light, we become contagious. We are contributing to the overall consciousness of our collective, and especially our time quality, to increase, to rise, okay, so that we can find higher expressions, better ways. And that is now starting. So the old is dead, yeah, and the new is starting latest in March. we're going to look at a new reality. Okay, so have a good experience. Be prepared. Stay conscious. Love you guys.
Yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this in-depth analysis. Quite a lot to work with. I'm wishing you a wonderful December. If you are interested in receiving a daily empowering message, look at my website or use the link here in the description to receive an email and an empowering daily message from me on video. I'm guiding you through this important month day by day. Even if you missed a few days, listen to these daily empowerment videos. I love you guys. See you soon. Bye-bye. Hope. To love and peace within. I dedicate myself. I am one with my higher self, the part in me that is unchanging, eternal, and infinite. I remember my light. I breathe in light to the center of my heart. I breathe in love to the center of my heart. And I breathe out anything not serving me anymore. I trust in the light. I am light. I always was and will always be. It is where I'm from and where I will return. In me, I can feel the connection to all there is. It fills me with the knowing that I am here for a reason. I am here because my higher self chose to be here, right now. I know that I came here with a purpose, even if I forget this sometimes. I embrace all experiences as learning experiences and feel nothing but gratitude for any opportunity to grow. because in my heart I can feel the truth that guides me. This gives me hope. I embrace change as the evolutionary path of my being. And trust in my higher self to guide me through this 3D ego reality. By aligning myself to this inner knowing, body, mind, spirit, heart and soul, I find my center. In there, in my sacred heart, undisturbed by the limitations of my ego, I can feel the connection with the greater reality. As soon as I let go of wanting to be someone I am not, I can see my path. I feel supported and loved by Spirit when I followed this path of my heart, the gateway to my higher thinking, perceiving and expressing. My destination is crystal clear. I know what I am. My true power is love, and this is how I communicate with divine consciousness. Everything I consciously choose connects me with love. And when I open myself up for what I came here for, I also feel deep love and truth in me. Yes, I can feel this now. My goal is to do what I love and to love what I do at all times. Everything else is my ego's confusion about who I truly am. When I am in pain or fear, it's because I forgot who I am. As energetic spirit being of light and love, my purpose is to bring this love the divine has for me into this world. Lack and the fear of the end of everything are merely constructs of the ego that I did not choose. When I feel the connection with my higher self, I need not to worry. I need not to judge. Because everything that was or will be is already inside of me. Deep peace of the running wave to you. Deep peace of the flowing air to you. Deep peace of the quiet earth to you. Deep peace of the shining stars to you. Deep peace of the gentle night to you. Moon and stars pour their healing light on you. I could not feel this before. I realize now that it is my highest expression to break free from my ego illusion here in 3D and to overcome the fear, darkness, and loneliness of not connecting with my true being. There is so much more. I now feel the light within me. And other souls. I can feel our hearts expanding. Together the light is more. So much more. Through the light within, anything not in harmony with my higher self is now cleared. All is past. We are one now. serving the highest good for all. I let go and love and accept all as is. Nothing needs to be controlled. Nothing needs to be worried about. Nothing is important. Only my connection deep within and the love I feel for my true self. True self. Thank you for always being there for me. When I remember to check in with you, I humbly recognize how all sicknesses of the human soul are essentially the pain of not trusting in the love the divine has for us. And therefore consciously choose to refuse a reality without this life-giving love at the center of it. Through the power of desire knowing, I herewith declare myself free from all attachments, limitations, energetic ties and karmic binds in any dimension or time to any person, entity or ego illusion. Nothing and no one has the right to violate my truth, my love, or my freedom. Help me to remember this when I am low and lonely. Fill me with the inner peace that gives me the clarity, courage, and determination to trust in my higher expression. I know there is more. There is so much more that awaits me. Yes, I herewith choose my higher self as my expression, now and at all times. Higher self, I am one now. Keep showing me the path of my heart's love and encourage me to embrace and express how I truly feel. I want you to be the voice of my heart. I want you to be the only voice of my heart. Speak to me in my dreams when my body is asleep. Let me hear this voice that empowers me to trust and remember my light. Through my reignited light within, hope is alive again. And gratitude I let go of all attachments and outcomes so that we are all free to move on as we are remembering to walk toward the light. Deep peace to you.